Ladies, gentlemen, folks beyond the binary, grab your husband, wife, partner, mistress, the Golden Palm winning director of Farewell My Concubine, and gather round the radio. It's time for this week's meeting of the Erotic Thriller Club.
Not rude or crude, he's always tastefully nude. In this hardcore world, he's a softcore dude. His antithesis, mysterious and dangerous. And oh yes, they've got all the sexiest movies out on VHS. So if you're fatally attracted to the racier stuff, Erotic Film Club basically instinctively crave the salacious. Erotic Film Club. If you want a racy movie and you're too classy for smut, Erotic Film Club. We can watch them and discuss them all ad nauseam. Erotic Film Club.
Picture this. You're a naive but smoking hot flatlander Hoosier living in London who has a meet cute with a mysterious emo mountain climber who I'm pretty sure walked into the wrong movie. You move the relationship along at lightning speed, barely knowing his name, and surprise, surprise, your new husband has some skeletons in his closet. Are you in danger now? Yes. But was the sex good? Also yes. Was it worth it? Let's find out. This week on the Erotic Thriller Club, Killing Me Softly. Hey everybody, welcome to this week's meeting of the Erotic Thriller Club. Garrett Callender and Kit Ryan here.
And this is where we answer the genre's three most important questions. Was I aroused? Was I thrilled? And would I ruin my life for this person?
Before we get started on this week's episode, I just want to thank all the listeners that have been tuning in every week. Hey, thank you so much. We
Thank
love you. We appreciate you. Every week I'm seeing more subscribers, and that just warms my heart.
Mine as well.
If you like the show, we would appreciate it if you leave a review wherever you're listening. Tell a friend. You know you've got a sick friend that wants to come in and join the club.
Tell a friend, tell a hookup, tell whoever.
Tell the director of Farewell My Concubine that he's welcome to join us on this show anytime.
Absolutely. This one's a bit of an odd duck in his portfolio, huh?
Yeah, we had a last minute change of movies. We had a movie set, realized something kind of currently problematic about the director, which is funny because so many of these movies have had a problematic person and we've just done it.
Yes. Yeah, we did.
But you know what? We decided to move along. The problem with moving along on this one is this is not a Garrett's Treasure Chest of Dog Shit week, yet somehow we've fallen in it again.
How did this happen to us? Look, I just wanted to watch the one that had Joseph Fiennes in it because I have had a massive crush on Joseph Fiennes ever since Shakespeare in Love. I love that man. He smolders with every look. And then they put him in this movie, and like he's undeniably still one of the handsomest men I've ever seen, but like he does not look good in the baggy climbing gear that they continually put him in.
It makes me happy you said all of that. Heather Graham was a huge high school celeb crush for me. I had a poster of her on my wall
Of course
in high
you
school.
did.
My relationship with this movie is I owned it. I have masturbated to this movie in my youth.
It is wild to me that I didn't, because I never knew it existed, despite the fact that this was such an important crush at the exact time that this movie came out. I never knew it existed.
That being said, I did own this in 2003.
Of course
I
you did.
don't know that I ever watched it beginning to end.
You just
And-
fast forwarded to the boobs?
Yeah, and just so you know, they still hit me in the feels 20 plus years later. Like,
They're
no
great.
joke. Like, when I saw them again, it was like seeing an old flame.
And damn, does she still look good?
She is beautiful. The crazy thing though, this movie might be the lowest rated movie we've done so far of any movie.
No, no, come on. That must be because no one's seen Meridian to review it, right? Because clearly that dog shit is worse than this dog shit.
Guess the Rotten Tomato score.
Of this?
Yeah,
Is it like a 10? A 5?
I'll give you uh, 2 more guesses.
Am I higher or lower?
Lower,
It's not low. Okay, is it a 2?
lower. Last
No,
guess.
it's not a 0.
Kit, we watched a 0 on this week's episode.
No.
0. I didn't know that going in, and also I want the listeners to know as we watch this movie's very fucking stupid. This movie
What?
hits a
People
hat trick of
died, Alice.
bad directing, bad writing, bad acting.
It's not, I mean, it is.
I want the
No.
listeners to know I have COVID right now. I spent last weekend in the Sphere watching 3 nights of Dead and Company, came back with COVID, watched this movie twice in 24 hours.
And you're
So
feeling how about this whole
I feel so fucking stupid. I watched this movie a second time out of necessity because there were things that I'm like, surely I missed something.
No,
I
you did
didn't.
not.
I
No.
didn't. Just wasted my time. I could have been playing with my child. I could have been
Mm, mm.
anything.
They grow up so fast. Yeah, you are
I'm mildly
quarantined.
quarantined, but
So you probably shouldn't have played with your child. Probably the best thing you could do is watch Killing Me Softly twice and enjoying Heather Graham's beautiful boobs twice. Huh? No
I
movie that
guess
has those tits and Joe Fiennes showing cheek could possibly be a 0%. It's just not possible.
that is a very good point, Kit. Like, what kind of cynical piece of shit do you have to be to
Thank
see
you.
these two
Beautiful
gorgeous
people.
specimen? But also as a film critic, you watch them. Heather Graham just as well be a goddamn space alien in this movie. And when Joseph Fiennes shows up on my screen, I swear to God, I thought he was a metrosexual sex wizard. Like I don't know. Like no, I'm not joking, listeners, when I say this. Like it looks like he thought he got cast in a Zoolander movie and then showed up to the
Oh
set of a
my
serious
god.
thriller.
I think you might be right though, because he's definitely given a lot of the looks that you expect in a
The
zoo.
first 20 minutes are Blue Steel. We don't even learn his name.
He just shoots her that blue steel, and her pussy just explodes.
So
She
did
goes home with him
mine.
right away.
This guy is a pair of fingerless gloves away from being the front man of 30 Seconds to Mars. Like the eyeliner's there. He
Mhm.
is he's an
I mean,
emo nightmare.
no, but it also, like, the clothing very much does fit with what I know about guys who are climbers. He's got the big sweaters and the big pants, the cargo pants. Like, somebody did some research on, like, what is this subgenre of people dress like? But then from, like, the neck up, he is a different
Mhm.
vibe entirely.
The climbers, wear that much eyeliner
They don't.
always.
No, they don't. And he should have had a lot more like Tibetan flags hanging up in his room. And you know what I'm saying? You should have been playing hacky sack. Come on.
Yeah, this
He's the
guy
wrong he's the wrong person. He does not fit. You can dress him up, but it does not work.
he has a troubled past though, so that's why like
Mm.
he's a climber with edge. This movie immediately starts like
You
the
mean with the
movie
Lord of the
looks
Rings-esque, like, music coming in as we watch
mhm,
a mountain, and then
and
they're having
fucking
sex
yeah.
superimposed over the mountain. Hey, Garrett, did that make you think that at one point these people were gonna be on a goddamn mountain?
No.
'Cause I did. I was waiting for Chekhov's fucking mountain to come back this whole time. No, the mountain is for flashbacks only.
Yep. There's no Chekhov's mountain. There's a Pepe's flame gun or a flare gun.
You're right. We got Pepe's flare gun. I'm so glad we're
There's
bringing
a
back
Chekhov's
Booby.
flare gun at one point, and I'll tell you, I swear to God, halfway through the fucking movie, I was like, "Can somebody just get killed with the flare gun?
Can we just
Can we
shoot the
just
flare gun?
get me there?"
Please.
No, but this movie, like, it opens in a way like, this movie's confusing because it does look like a movie. Like, we've watched some like, Meridian doesn't always look like a movie. Uh, the movie doesn't necessarily look cheap, but it's
There are parts
poorly
that look
directed and edited.
and there are parts that do look cheap. Like the pictures she has of them in their shared apartment with her current boyfriend, the one that she's going to break up with, right? For Joseph Fiennes. All of their pictures are clearly from the same photo shoot. And they have like 8 pictures of them. And it's like, well, we took some of them in black and white and some of them in color, so it looks like they're different. Also, there's like they showed the people falling down the mountain, but then when they
Mhm.
wanted to show them losing their equipment, some guy just clearly dropped it in a pile of snow.
That is
It
where the
was
movie's first.
hilarious.
Yeah, like, you're watching a climbing accident in this opening, and you can tell the way it was directed is they set up a camera and told 5 people, "Now every 3 seconds, one of you jump over the camera and yell, 'Ah.'"
Ah!
Ah!
It's really great. Uh,
The funniest bit of dialogue, 'cause this movie is heavily narrated throughout, and you don't really know who's narrating with her. I assume, like, maybe a therapist? Um, Takes a long
she's
time to
at
get
the
to
same
there.
mental institution that the lady in 9.5 weeks should have ended up at.
For real,
Because
like,
this movie has a lot of
similarities,
similar,
yeah.
yeah, vibes, except like this movie's idea of, oh, she's in a sexy, dangerous, kinky relationship is like he wraps some silk around her neck and she goes and it's really slack the whole time. I'm like, what kind of climber is this guy? Choke her already. She looks like she could breathe fine the whole time.
The beginning narration starts with the whoever whatever man she's speaking with saying, "Start at the beginning, it's always easiest." And that made me think of the Mitch Hedberg joke where he's like, "I saw an ad for a fight that said, 'It's a fight to the finish.' That's a good place to end."
And the thing is, yeah, she starts at the beginning with a flashback to a place she never was.
Yeah. Hey, but she's just if there's one thing this director knows, just so the audience knows, the
Mhm.
director is from China. He has made I'm gonna always butcher the way to say it, but, a Palme d'Or, the Golden Palm from Cannes,
It's
and
French and
and
fancy.
yeah, this is a Chinese director who has made, like, acclaimed movies. He has
Oh, yeah.
only made one and done on English speaking movies, and this is it. And
This,
this movie
mhm.
reads like a Chinese guy had to direct people that he couldn't communicate with. They couldn't communicate with him, and his idea is
None
to
of that
tell.
excuses, though, the fact that, like, the person who wrote this presumably speaks perfectly fluent English, and they still wrote lines of dialogue in here like, "I have to leave you. But Alice, we're together. We go to the market together every Sunday. I buy your tube tickets for you." Oh, well, you're right. I
"Bitch, you
can't
can't break up with me. I buy you train
buy
tickets."
you train
Does
tickets.
that mean nothing?
Does that mean nothing to you?
It's a maddening movie. Like, clearly the writers thought of, like, people from the Midwest as, like, "This lady's dumb as shit,
Dumb as
and she
shit.
and she
But
can't
Garrett,
handle
she
talking to posh Brits."
please, this is 2002, and this woman designs CD-ROMs. So
Yeah.
clearly, she is with it and hip
It's an
and works in a
interactive
cool
CD-RAM.
office. Yeah, she designs the CD-ROMs. To which I was like, what does that mean exactly? It's not clear. It doesn't need to be clear. But she's clearly the worst person at this office, I have to point out. She's like, "I'm
Everyone
gonna go."
hates her.
Everyone clearly hates her, and she's like, "I'm gonna go get my hair trimmed, I'll be back after lunch," and that's just an excuse to go ogle the hot guy across the street, of course. But, like, no one seems to find this to be strange at all, because clearly she does shit like this all the time, because she's bad at her job.
Well, her first meeting, she sneezes and everyone stops and looks at her like, "If this bitch sneezes one more
One
time,
more
I'm gonna
fucking
kill her
time.
myself. I'm not gonna let the fucking mountain man across the street do." Her boss
Mm-mm.
looks
She's,
like
like,
dollar
toying
store
with
Alan
shit.
Rickman.
Oh my god, and his hair is so early aughts with the gelled little spikes. It's
It's
really
what Alan
bad.
Rickman's hair looked like in every early aughts movie.
You're
Like,
not wrong.
what else did she do? She sneezed and then she's just
She was,
like,
like, clicking, like, drumming on the table or something. She was
"Oh
doing
yeah, she's."
something that clearly everyone found annoying.
And then at one point too, the guy's like, "What we need to do, we need to be pioneers in our industry." And she quits paying attention and just jots the word pioneer, and they're like,
Pioneer.
"Alice, fucking pay attention,
She's
woman."
taking notes apparently and still can't bother to pay attention
How this
because she
Indiana flatlander bitch just
got this important job designing CD-ROMs, here in London. I could not say.
jobs were just easier to get back then.
I guess, yeah. I mean, like,
Somebody's
you
gotta
know,
design CD-ROMs.
someone's
Why
gotta
not this
design all
space
these
alien from Indiana?
who just has no concept of how, like, people talk or
This
do things.
doe-eyed idiot who I had such a crush on.
Yeah, so she meets him when they both like touch the button to walk across the street at the same time. Then she spends the next like couple hours at work just obsessing over him, which I would too. It's Joseph Fiennes. He's very handsome.
His look though, Kit, their
It's
look was
bad.
just like
It's bad. It's like "Uh?"
you we can't,
Garrett,
this is
no
a
one
not a
can see
video
the
podcast, so it's just
no
like,
one can see the dumbass face you're making.
picture just like 9 blue steals in a row, like Ben Stiller and a blue steel off, is what this fucking guy's doing, and I'm not exaggerating this. Like, guys, this movie is prime bad movie night material. It's so fun. It's so fun,
It's yeah,
but it
yeah.
is
So
hot dog shit. Like, this is a 20-year-old piece of dog shit, and it's still hot and steaming.
in multiple ways because also the leads are still very attractive. Yeah, the pacing of everything is so strange too. And like she just walks across the street and it's like, "Hello." No, they don't even talk. They
They
say
don't
nothing.
speak.
They say nothing at all. It's just next thing you know they're getting into a cab.
And then as they ride in the cab, she questions getting out, but the question is like her reaching for the door, not reaching for it. He goes, "What's your name?" She says, "My name's Alice." They continue on the drive, get to his apartment, walk in, slams her against the wall, titties out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It is a very unsexy way in which he kind of tackles her. Like he just sneaks up behind her and grabs both tits in what is a very unsexy manner. But next thing you know, boobs are out, and you see he's got the most 90s ass like Chinese character tattoo ever on his back, and he's wearing this like necklace on a black cord. It's very much of the time. It is a time capsule what this man is wearing. And the cat is watching. The cat is judging as they fuck.
Yeah, Mr. Know-It-All, we find out is his name later. But let's go into the sex scene. The
Mhm.
so we I'm assuming you watched the version that's on HBO.
Yeah.
So I wish I had pulled it out. I do have the disc here and I just went with the digital version, but I know I have the unrated cut. And
I could have seen more tits.
oh, I don't know if you know, like they filmed like 7 days of sex footage.
Oh my
Um
god! I thought they didn't have enough because there was a point in the movie later where they reused some sex footage, and I was like, "Come on, guys, give me the new shit."
well, apparently some of it was too intense to use
Ah!
like in a movie that isn't smut.
They were releasing it direct to DVD or direct to video in the United States anyway, right? So like,
That
put the
wasn't the
slut in.
plan. They like were shooting for a theatrical release and clearly someone watched it.
So there goes that plan.
They're like, "This isn't a movie you go see in the theater. This is a movie that a
Mm-mm.
teen boy
Mhm.
buys in the $5 bin at Walmart
Mhm.
and gets and everything he needs out of it."
So tell me about the secret sex that I missed.
Well, I didn't watch it. I watched the same one you did, so I haven't seen the secret sex, but, like, this movie does something with a famous person because, like, Heather Graham was a name at this point. She had been in Boogie Nights, she had been in Swingers, she was in Austin Powers 2, which was a monster hit, and
Absolutely.
then this, like, a couple years later, sh they move a lot in the sex scene.
Are they not
Her
supposed?
bre Well, I feel like
Oh,
there's
the
a lot of
boobies.
yeah, there's a lot more, like, swinging and movement, than I feel like we normally get. I feel
Is
like you
that
usually
what
just get a peek at them, not, like, violent thrusting, where it's, like, everybody's shaking and going, like, this is
that's
closer
what
to
takes it from
pornography.
that's what takes it from an
Yeah.
R to an NC-17 is the amount of boob swingage that you get.
Well, and a lot of these movies, like, it talks about, like, the amount of thrusting or no thrusting that was
Mm,
allowed to be in it. In this, there's plenty of thrusting from
plenty of
angles
thrusting. Yeah.
to this innocent doe-eyed flatlander.
Who's clearly never been fucked like this before. Certainly not by Jake.
Like,
Jake, her boring boyfriend.
that hurt my feelings because, like, watching, like, I know when we get to the end of this and it's, "Would you ruin your life for this woman?" Yeah, 100% I would, but the problem is my life isn't in danger. I'm Jake.
Yeah, you're Jake.
I'm ruining my heart's getting broken. It's nothing
Oh,
bad.
it's okay. You get your best friend comes to comfort you and you get a new girlfriend moving in like a week later.
Which the timeline of this movie is bizarre,
It's
folks.
so hard to tell if she's known him for 2 days or months or like you have no idea how long they've been together when they get married.
I assume 4 days. Like,
My
from what I'm watching, I'm not joking, I think 4 days.
You really think it was only 4 days? I gave them at least a month.
So day 1, she meets, she fucks him, goes
Yeah.
home, tries to fuck Jake, her boyfriend, yucky, yucky, don't likey.
Even though Jake is like, "Hey, what do you want me to do?" And she could have said, she could have like, "Be more communicative, Heather.
She's like, "It's fine."
It's
He's like,
fine."
"I buy the tube tickets, what do you need from me? I buy the tube! The tube!"
You're clearly too stupid and American to understand how to buy tube tickets, so I do it for you. You
You
can't
think in
survive
dollars,
without
I think
me.
in pounds. You
Pounds.
can't get on the tube without So so she leaves him.
Yeah.
She goes to after she leaves her, like, year and a half relationship,
It's a year long. They make it very clear that she's been in London for a year and a half and she was lonely for the first 6 months. So she's been with him
mm,
a year, which is long enough for them to apparently have moved in together and just cover their walls in pictures of them
memories,
together,
yeah.
all from one day that they had a photo shoot taken.
Yeah.
There are no
I
pictures of them doing anything because apparently he's too boring to ever take her even to like Piccadilly Circus to have a photo taken there.
Well, he's like me, I forget to take photos when I'm out with people, like, you live in the moment, you forget.
Mm, mhm. But yeah, so she's masturbating in the cab on the way to go see him the second time. I just found that absolutely
She's
gross.
masturbating?
Do you not remember that? She has her hands in between her legs up her skirt while she's in the cab on the way to his place for the second time.
Oh, I thought she was just, like, anxious, like, nervous sitting. I didn't know she
What do
was,
you
like,
No, those fingers were up the skirt.
cool.
100%.
She's cool.
She's cool.
Naive, dumb, flatlander, idiot, but cool. I
I
can't get
love
over the phrase flatlander.
which they use multiple times. They
Insult.
clearly like, I get it. They want this whole thing to be a metaphor, right? Like, when you're up in the altitude, right? You can't breathe, but it's so exhilarating. And she's from a metaphorical as well as literal flat land. And maybe that's why these two could never be together.
You dumb Mike Pence stupid idiot.
You know how to milk a cow, and that is it.
Like, I love
Anyway,
she
so
goes and picks up his mountain climbing book, and, like, when she
yes.
goes over to his house to fuck him again, she's like, "I learned your name."
Yeah, yeah. And he's like, "So you read that book? That book? You think it's cool? Well, people died, Alice. It's not cool."
Lights up a cig.
Dramatically tortures a fish.
This is insane. Like, she no sells this so hard where she's just like, "Oh," where he's like, "This is
Oh.
when you," he's like, "Do you wanna know what it's like to climb a mountain?" Pulls a goldfish out of a bowl. "The brain cells start to pop in your brain from the altitude. Flatlander." Puts the fish back in.
You know, I've never found anything more sexy than when a man will torture a fish in front of me just to make a point.
I thought it was pretty sexy when she started to put her underpants back on, and he said, "No, no, leave them
Don't.
off."
Oh, that was also it was after that that she goes back home and breaks up with Jake. And I noticed that they live together and have just one chair in front of the TV. This is an absolutely obscene way to live. And he's just sitting there yelling at the football
Food.
frick foot, fucking soccer ass game. And she finds that deeply distasteful. Joseph Fiennes would
Mhm.
never just sit on a couch and yell at the TV. He would choke you instead.
Yeah, he's into choking. He's, very 9.5 weeks. Yet she leaves him, goes back to the house where she fucked. Turns out it's his sister's house. Sister gives her the address of her brother. She waits in a snowy alley?
Yeah, and she is not dressed for the weather in any way, shape, or form.
No.
She has lived in London for a year and a half, and she doesn't understand it gets fucking cold in the winter.
And, they have a snowbang right there in the alley when he sees her on the park bench in the
Mhm,
alleyway.
mhm.
There's a lot of sex in the first 19 minutes of this movie.
Yeah, but you're missing out on some of the weird vibes of when she meets the sister. And of course, at first she thinks like it's his girlfriend, right? And then when she's like, "Oh, you're his sister." And then sister has the absolutely batshit line, "For me, pictures tell me who I am. For Adam, they steal his soul." Every line in this movie is fucking like this. It's vague, cool sounding bullshit that means fucking nothing. She's like,
Mhm.
"When you're with my brother, you're either with him or you're not." Oh, no shit,
Uh,
lady. And if you're with him, that's it. There's no discussion. Discussion about what? I don't know. Nobody elaborates on anything. They just say a thing. And then the other person, which is usually Alice, just stares at you wide eyed and naively, like, "Oh,
well,
uh-huh."
with when you say it with a British accent, it sounds like you're saying something.
And so yes, Alice is still hypnotized by people saying things in a British accent. That's why she's always getting into trouble.
For real though, like if I had to write down every line they said that was stupid, I would just throw the script at your head. Like it's
I did write down a bunch of them. There's stuff like, "My taste in clothes has totally changed," as her way of talking about how her whole life is so different now, as she's wearing like a Chinese style red floral pattern dress with a green coat and bright red boots. She looks horrific. And
no,
this is her new sexy outfit. Garrett, you're
she's
wrong.
beautiful.
Garrett, she is an incredibly gorgeous woman, and she is dressed atrociously.
She's dressed like an asshole a little bit. She did look like an asshole at that bar where she's meeting up with her old pal and
Who is Jake's friends first, and yet
yeah.
she is so dumb. She thinks she can be like, "Oh my god, I'm having such good dicking right now," and that like this friend is not going to be like, "I don't want to hear about that because I'm Jake's friend." Sorry that I'm not super excited for all the good dicking you're getting.
Well, she's like, "You gotta meet this guy," and she's like, "I fucking guess."
Yes.
And we end up in a really bizarre situation that almost seems like Joseph Fiennes, Adam, like, it seems like he is almost in a situation that he had set up.
Mm.
So, Heather Graham and her friend walk outside. A guy who looks like a stereotypical, like a punk musician, runs up, grabs her in almost a chokehold to steal her purse, slices her face a little with a razor,
Not sure
and then
why. Seemed
yeah,
unnecessary.
really unnecessary in broad daylight, surrounded by people.
Yeah, she's
And
there with her friend right
yeah,
next to her. There's people everywhere. So it definitely, yeah, you and I had the same thought like, oh, Adam set this up, right? So that he could like run in and be the good guy. But no, Adam fucking loses his mind and nearly kills, possibly does kill this dude. He starts slamming his head in one of those classic red phone booths that
'cause
they
they're in
have in
England.
London.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the run he does to catch the guy, were you that guy, like, I swear to God, Kit, like, I don't know what his acting, like, what anyone told him to be like. He looks
I
like he's
don't
in a
think
comedy this whole movie. Like, it looked like he was in front of a green screen pretending to run, and they're just like, "Make big facial expressions. Bigger! Bigger! Bigger!"
You're mad.
And you're right, like, this fight scene, like, he's a fucking pimp. He beats the shit out of this guy,
Yeah,
and he
he
looks
fucking
cool
kills
doing
him.
it.
I'm not entirely sure he didn't kill him. They never specify that that man is not dead. And then they're like, they start making out, and he's like, "You gotta marry me." This is weirder than in 9.5 weeks when they started fucking after being like chased down by the homophobes. That kind of made sense. Like, I felt the adrenaline rush, and then the fact that they wanted to fuck. I was there the whole time. This was fucking bizarre. There was none of that feeling. It was just like she's still bleeding and he's making out with her. Like,
This guy might be dead. Like,
yeah,
legitimately, this guy might be dead, the hoodlum.
yes, the cops are showing up. There's people gathered around. Her friend is still nearby and he just keeps kissing her and being like,
He
"Marry
proposed
me."
next to a corpse.
Yes. Yes, he did.
Immediately, almost, Alice gets a Jim Belushi letter.
Oh my god, yes. It is the Jim Belushi letter. It's like, how well do you really know him?
It's kind of a lame letter, like, it
It's
sucks.
not that good. Jim Belushi got way better letters. His rhymed.
It's really more like a tweet from a friend.
Hey girl, you sure you know about this guy? And then next thing you know, they're fucking married. And they're getting
4
married in
days,
a
I
weird
swear to God.
It's they're getting married in a little like weird old church. And there's two random old people there that are
Mhm.
the only people there to witness it. And then those people disappear. I don't know who they were or why. Did they just happen to show up at church that day? And somebody like the pastor or whatever was like, "Yeah, come on in. We need some witnesses."
It's a beautiful little, like, countryside village,
It is. It's
and
lovely.
one of the only times you see them try to learn anything about each other is he's like, "Oh, this is my family's church." And she's like, "Oh, your family has a church? My dad's an asshole and my mom hates me," or whatever she says. Like,
I don't even
2
remember,
things that
man.
don't matter. And he's like, "Shut up. Stop talking, Flatlander. Let's walk. Take your top off
Let's
in the
walk. And then he
cemetery."
starts screaming as he runs up a hill for no reason. And then yeah, he wants her naked in a cemetery and takes
Hot.
a Polaroid of her. She looks great. I'm
Looks
not
really good.
complaining. We got boobies in the graveyard. Weirdly ominous Chekhov's flare gun, or in
He
this case,
shoots
I
a
guess
flare gun, and he's like,
for
"Look
no
at this flare
reason.
gun. Do not forget this flare gun. This flare gun may be important to you later. Puts in box."
It really is only for the benefit of the audience and no one else.
Don't forget this flare gun. And I fucking didn't when I was ready for this shit to wrap up.
And
I
then
was
they go hiking, and she falls behind, and he fucking lets her. And it turns out it's for the cutest reason, like the genuinely romantic of using those rock climbing glow sticks, like hung in the trees, to lead her to this cozy little cabin. Like I found that to be exquisitely charming.
Well, this is where we get the bondage sex, the mountain climber bondage that you think is lame, but hey, Kit,
Mhm.
she's the fish. She's the
Mm.
fish from earlier. She's
Oh
the
my
fish.
god, she's the fish, she can't breathe. And this is also where we get to see Joe Fine's, butt, so we
Like,
get the male lead cheek.
again, like we get it pretty much every sex scene you see
It's
his tush.
nice.
It really seemed like, I mean, based on the amount of footage on the cutting room floor, I'd be I just feel like there's rude out there.
I'm sure there is, and we have been cruelly denied it.
Joseph Fiennes did say that Heather Graham refused to wear a modesty pouch, which I think is this, like, I guess, lady version of a cock sock.
Is it like a merkin?
No, I don't think like that's
No.
a pube toupee. I think a modesty
I
I think a
assumed, yeah, it's just like, is it like underwear, but like not underwear? Like, what are we
I think
talking
it
about
like it
here?
has to be like a flesh covered little patch you put over
The
the part.
bits?
But like why would she refuse to, because it's just hot? Because they're just
Listen,
two hot people?
we're two hot people, and we're just gonna do this. In fact,
And I mean,
why don't
let's
we?
face it,
Yeah,
she's been nude in most of her movies.
and rightly so. Girl has plenty to offer.
She should have been the biggest star. She should have. She's I mean, not
Seriously.
from this movie. This movie sucks,
No,
but this is like Madam Web. I don't think that anyone in this movie sucks because like forever. Like, this is they're in a bad
no, you
movie.
were in a bad movie. You made bad choices, but that doesn't make you a bad actor. It's just we all make mistakes. Um yeah, so she's getting more of these weird notes warning her about her now husband after their 4 days together, I guess. And she finds out that her ex has already moved on with the friend. And so she's like, I guess it's not my ex that's sending me all these weird letters. Even though X is clearly not doing okay. He's like smoking a cigarette and glaring.
He has every right to be mad.
I
This
don't
was so
disagree.
sudden.
They went to the market every Sunday and he bought her goddamn tube
The
tickets.
tube.
And she didn't appreciate that. But okay, so like he's been interviewed for an article about how he's this big hero who saved all these people on a hiking accident. And the journalist who had been interviewing him calls her up at work and is like, hey girl, I'm a journalist, but I'm not going to report on this or even follow it up. But I will tell you for some reason that somebody told me some messed up stuff about your man, and I'm just gonna fax it to you. And so she gets these faxes that are like, by the way, Adam's a rapist.
Your boyfriend be raping.
Your boyfriend be raping. This was also in a scene where you once again see her genius at work when she says, men like games. Women don't like games. Women like stories. And the Alan Rickman knockoff is like, all right, you're in charge of this whole project now. You're clearly a genius. But she can't focus on that because she's getting a bunch of faxes she needs to hide that are accusing her husband of being a rapist.
It really is a comedy of errors.
It
Uh,
really
like like Fraser Crane would have had a similarly funny situation trying to hide faxes popping out of a fax machine. Oh my.
So she goes and she pretends to be the reporter and goes and meets with this woman who's accusing her husband of rape. And it's like the woman's like gives a fairly like convincing sounding story about him raping her at a party and then going home with his sister and being like it was just sex. And you're like, "Huh, I wonder if that line's going to come back." No, it doesn't. None of this comes back. The woman is then also immediately like, "So I'm gonna make a lot of money off this story, right?" And so you're like, "Oh, so I guess she's not telling the truth about being raped, Or I don't
Oh, I
know.
guess
This
I didn't
part was
even
very
question that.
unclear. What?
I guess I still just thought, like, it happened.
Oh no, I took that as like a reason for her to be able to discount it in her mind as being like, "Oh, this woman's just trying to like get a big story and
Hmm.
make a lot of money off of this guy who's a famous hero." But then later Joseph Fiennes is like, "Yeah, of course you heard about that lady who says that I raped her? I didn't rape her. I've known her forever and she just says things like that." And it's like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
stupid.
Yeah, the movie's not smart. You're right. And so then she decides she's getting nosy because she realizes she doesn't actually know anything about this man that she married. Like, oh, it's just now sinking in that I know nothing about him. And so she goes digging around.
Yeah, finds a locked room at the house, unlocks it, finds some letters from Adele Blanchard.
Yeah, which don't actually, they're not incriminating. They're just her being like, hey, you and I have this hot and dangerous thing going, but I don't want to do it anymore. I'm going to go back to my husband. And I'm like, okay, so you found letters from his ex girlfriend leaving him in a
They
closet that's locked in his room. Like, nothing about that is suspicious to me.
but they did sort of like I don't know, kind of imply that he was intense or like there was a violent side to him because but it seems like really a
But,
lot
like,
of it is just he
it
likes
seemed
chokey
super
sex.
consensual. Like, it seemed like the
Yeah.
same stuff she was doing, where she was into it the whole time and never, like, he was like, "Tell me if you want me to stop," and she's like, "Don't stop, don't stop." So I assumed that it was the same way with the ex, where it was like, yeah, she's got bruises because she's into that. Like, there was nothing in the letters that implied that he had done anything unconsensually with her. So I don't know why they freaked her out so much.
I mean a lot of it is because this guy's fucking creepy.
Yeah, that's
Like
the other
there
thing that you have to keep in mind is that he's making these creepy ass
his
faces all
fucking
the
stupid
time.
faces he's making, like, he's making villainous faces. Like, the only thing that's making him seem guilty other than the choky sex is that he's constantly, like, giving villainous glares to the camera, and he's always like, make it I can't stress enough, he is making the face of a Ben Stiller villain, like, it over and over again, and to where
Over
you're
and
like, "Well,
over again.
he's guilty, there's no way he's not,
There's no
because
way he's not.
nobody who's this cartoon villainy wouldn't be the villain."
Right, right. And I don't, okay, so she gets a bloody scarf in the mail. And that's when she really starts to freak out. And she decides she's gonna go looking for the mysterious missing, like the ex-girlfriend from the letters. And she tracks down the address and finds Adele's mom saying that Adele's been missing for 8 months. And, come in and look at my scrapbook of all of my pictures of my smiling, happy daughter. And
And
also
this
this
one
one
titty
picture
picture.
in
Boom!
mom's scrapbook is a picture of her daughter naked in front of the same statue where he took a picture of Alice naked. So, like, oh, that's
2 titty
suspicious.
pictures.
Two titty pictures. And it's like, Mom, please take this out of your scrapbook that you show to strangers.
When Alice sees the picture, she takes the biggest, like, gulp of tea.
It's
Like, you would
fucking
think
comedy
mom
gold.
should think that she's the fucking killer at this point with that gulp of tea.
100%. It is, you're right, like accidental comedy to the highest degree of her just being like, "Gloop."
The director had to have been talking to a translator and just like, "Tell her to gulp bigger. Bigger.
Bigger,
Bigger!
bigger.
Gulp! Gulp! 1 liter of tea in your mouth, down the gullet, now!"
Uh,
So she runs
yeah.
away because it sounds like Adam's coming to talk to mommy.
There's a lot
And
of these like fake tense moments where it's like
mhm,
Adam might be showing up. Oh, I'm looking through his letters and Adam might be coming in the door. Oh, I'm at this lady's house and Adam might be showing up. And it's like, I'm not all that scared. Other than him making these mean mug faces at the camera,
he
there's
hasn't
nothing about him that seems at all scary.
Though they do, like, imply that he's spying on her going to all these places, like, talking to the reporter, seeing
Yeah.
her at the mom's house, but it's so insignificant that, like, we weren't it's we could have glossed over it because it doesn't fucking matter.
It doesn't matter, and I guess it's weird that I'm saying this about someone I watched kill a man, but he doesn't seem that dangerous.
But at this point, like, based on the titty picture, she knows, like, he killed his ex-wife.
I don't know
Like,
why she thinks she knows that even. All that actually means is he took a picture of both of them naked in the same spot. Like, I'm there with the cop who was like, "That's not evidence, girl."
if your wife went missing 8 months ago
Mhm.
and you didn't tell your new wife that you have another
That's
wife
not they
that
were
went
not
missing.
married, they were just fucking around.
2 titty pictures in the same space. I'm gonna go ahead and side with Alice. That's weird, it's suspicious,
I didn't
other
say it's
ladies
not
missing.
weird. It's just like
It's
maybe
weird enough you don't go home.
he's got a fetish, all right? He's got a fetish for naked chicks in graveyards, and I don't know why you're being so kink shaming about it, Garrett.
I like the titty pictures too, okay? I'm not shaming the titty pictures. I'm shaming the existence of them and the weirdness of the missing and him not every woman he's been in love with has been dead at this point. We didn't even
That's
mention the
true.
fucking mountain climbers dead.
That's true. That in the big accident that he is known as the big hero for, that he was like, people died, Alice. One of those people was the woman he
Francois.
was Francoise, the woman he was with at the time. So that is now two dead mountain climbing women uh that were
Probably 3
associated
titty
with him.
pictures if you look hard enough.
You know what? There probably is a missing graveyard titty pic that we don't get to see. And they definitely has a type because they all are the same like
Oh,
skinny blondes. Like clearly he's got a type.
it's a good time. Um, but she when she goes back to her house, she's like making some tea, really nonchalantly, which is weird because like seems dangerous. He's scary smoking in the dark. And then he comes out and's like, "What the fuck are you doing? Get on the table." The kitchen table, which now already has pre-tied ropes to
It's because they were
harness
doing
her.
some sexy stuff there. You know they were.
Cutting room floor shit, probably.
Probably,
Uh
yeah.
I mean, the 7 days of fuck footage that we missed out on.
God
Um,
damn.
but he has her tied down. It is scary. He's crying and yelling. He's a little manic.
See,
Ladies,
I was not scared at all because of the look on her face. She just looks annoyed to be tied to this table the whole time. She doesn't look scared. It's like she's too stupid to be scared.
it's that Indiana naivete. It's
Which is why when she ran out the door at the end, I was genuinely surprised because I was like, I didn't think she was smart enough to
oh,
run.
she did a thing that I think everyone listening needs to take note of. So
Hmm.
while she's tied down to get off the table, arms tied, legs tied, she says, "Adam, I have to pee."
And he's like, all right.
Well, I don't want you pissing on my dining room table. I'm not a
It's a
monster.
really nice dining room table,
Like, just do that. Like, if you were kidnapped, you are going to pee. Say you're going to pee.
right? They'll
He
let you
let her
pee,
go. She
presumably.
climbs out the window, chase, 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 run, 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 run. Nothing like he can't get her. She ends up at the cops. And it basically, where is the line? It's so, and it goes back to the narration, and she goes, "And that's when I came to you."
Yeah,
And it
it's
brings us back
it's
to reality.
really bad.
But like you said, the cop is fucking hilarious because
Oh
she's
my
with the
god,
cops,
yes.
and the cop's like, "Ma'am, here's the thing." Once again, cop's fucking useless most of the time.
Oh, and
He's just like,
yeah.
"Until he murders you, I can't do anything." And he's like, "I do appreciate you showing me these 2 titty pictures though."
He is. He's like, I mean, I could
This is
submit these
cool.
into evidence if you if you want me to. But no,
He's
he's
like,
like by the time anyone makes a domestic violence report, it's too late. And I don't know what he means by that because once again, people don't say shit that makes sense in this movie. I'm like, what do you mean it's too late? What do you mean it's too Like, are you saying she should get a divorce? Are you saying she's already dead? Like, what does that mean? How is it too late? Why can't you just say he tied me to a table? You don't even have to say I think he murdered all these other women. You can say he tied me to a fucking table and wouldn't let me leave.
But he'd be like, "That's just some Indiana hearsay." Uh,
And yes, he is already there at the police station because he went there looking for her and brought shoes because he's worried that she ran off without shoes and that her feet might get hurt on those tough London streets. Those cobblestones are unforgiving.
the way Adam is crying into the two-way mirror and, like, cuddling his
Yes.
blankie is the moment you're like, "This guy ain't guilty." Adam's
No.
just a fucking weirdo whose girlfriend died. He started putting on the eyeliner. He was probably
Yep.
no eyeliner pre-deaths.
Absolutely.
Um, does he like choking? Yes. Did he
No
torture
big
the fish a
deal.
little?
Just a
Eh,
little.
just a little. Does he have a couple titty pictures? Who doesn't?
Who doesn't? Are
It's
they in graveyards? Yes.
it's a secluded area. No
Yeah.
one's gonna see, and it's a great memory.
So she leaves and she goes to the sister, which is a terrible idea. I don't know
This
why you'd
is
be like, who's going to be on my side?
go.
Obviously, his sister.
I hate this movie, kid. Like, I have COVID. I could die at any moment,
Yeah.
and I'm
And
gonna
this is
die
the
talking
last
about
thing.
this shit.
This is the last thing you'll have seen. This is like when, Garrett, the last thing that you and I watched before COVID uh, meant that we couldn't go to the theaters anymore was fucking Guns Akimbo.
Oh, that was fun, yeah.
The night before, I had seen Parasite, but instead, the last movie I saw before COVID shut the movie theaters down and I couldn't go see a movie for like a year and a half was Guns of fucking Kimbo.
Well, I did see, like, 6 movies between us, like, seeing Guns Akimbo and theaters getting shut down. The very last movie I saw before theaters shut down was a midnight screening of Cats.
Bless you, Garrett.
I did this.
Bless you. Anyway, so she goes to the sister and she's like, "Hey, I think your brother might be a murderer." And sister's like, maybe. Like, gee, maybe he is a murderer. Look at this like uh what do you call it? The like piton, the thing you
Yeah, it's like
drill
the
into
mountain
the
climate, like the rod you put into the rock. It holds 2,000 pounds of falling pressure.
but then like
Weight.
this one, which uh only holds 75 pounds, you know, that was
It's
the
made
one
real
that
bad. He killed these people.
he definitely killed all those people. Which John pointed out would be a really stupid way to kill somebody because you're on that rope too. Everyone is on that.
I think the implication was that he went back down, which he would have had his own
Oh,
and
and
replaced
swapped
them.
it.
I watched it twice, so I did hear the line. Like, they made it sound
Got
like
it.
he went back down and replaced all of them with those so that everybody would plummet after he went up.
Which, as far as like, if you're gonna be a serial killer, like killing
That's a
people on like Mount Everest or whatever is super good because no one reclaims the bodies from
mhm,
Everest. They're just up
mhm.
there. You can murder them on Everest. No one will. What you think the cops are gonna go up there and investigate? They will not.
The director of this movie did hear my complaint during the mountain climb about the mountain climbers falling in the beginning looking
Mm.
shitty, and this
Because
he's like, "Well,
then,
what if we throw 5 people off a fucking cliff, Garrett? Would you like that better?"
and you said,
Yes, and he did. These people might be dead, I don't know. They free fell for so
I
long.
kept thinking nothing like this can't be the real climax of the movie, though, right? Like, this can't be it because they're not on a mountain. She hasn't gone on a single fucking mountain, and he only kills people on mountains. So, like, clearly she's not in any danger.
As they're at her house, I literally yelled at the TV, "Just go to the flare gun already."
Well, you'll have to be patient. Cause first, the sister has to drive her to the graveyard to go look for Adele's body. And she's like, by the way, I sent you all those creepy letters. I was just trying to warn you about my possessive, dangerous, violent brother. You trust me, right? And of course, our Flatlander does. She's like, yeah, that's a totally sensible thing for a sister to do,
Yeah.
is to pretend to be my friend and supportive of this relationship while secretly mailing me threatening letters, including a bloody scarf that presumably only a murderer would have.
Mhm.
Totally
Mhm.
normal. Totally makes sense.
Finale of this movie as we're
Yeah, no, we
digging this
gotta
corpse
talk
kit.
about this. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I know this is based off a book, and normally I would research the book and see like what the similarities were. This doesn't deserve anything to
No.
be looked up. This needs to be viewed as is. Uh
Mm,
no source material.
none.
This is guys, if you listen to all of our episodes and you listened to Traces of Red last week or 2 weeks ago, and you thought it was weird when halfway through the movie you find out that Jim Belushi had been molested in the 1st grade,
Well,
then
aren't you in for
get
a
ready
treat?
for get ready for our fucking theme of weirdness with surprises in these movies, folks. The sister, we find out, which I don't know that she has been killing I guess she killed some
She has
people at
no,
least.
she has killed every single one. I firmly believe that he killed no one and she killed every single woman that her brother has ever been with.
Because she had sex with her brother when he was 15. "Those
Mhm.
first silks were for me," she says.
Mhm.
At no point do we find out that maybe she's his half sister, maybe she's adopted.
No,
As far as
no,
I know,
no, no.
full blood,
Mhm.
2 siblings boned.
We're doing some
She
Lannister shit, yeah.
Why are they hanging out all the time still?
I don't
This
know
is
because
like
it like the way she makes it sound, it was absolutely abuse. Like she's the older sister and 100% she like all of this was always her idea. And he's like, "Why? I was never yours. We were kids. We were just kids. It's over." Okay, but dude, you fucked Alice in your sister's house
Mhm.
multiple times.
Yeah.
Like, clearly, you are not over this. Like, you did not get the therapy you needed for any of
Mm-mm.
this.
Sometimes a twist,
Yeah, Garrett?
like, just because, like, you aren't expecting it doesn't make it good.
No, I loved it when later on in her like epilogue, she's like, I was blinded by the passion, so I missed all the clues to his past. What clues?
I missed them
What?
too. I watched it
What
twice. I couldn't find them.
clues? What clues? There were no clues.
The best thing though is the sibling fight. Like, he is punching the shit out of his sister, but she's a worthy adversary because she is punching the shit out of him back.
Well,
He
they're both
stands up and he's just
climbers.
like,
They're both in good
"Alice,
shape.
I just like titty pictures," and she's coming at him from behind, really just gonna whack his head with a shovel, probably not kill him. But then Alice, boom, right in the chest with the flare gun to
Mhm.
Sissy. And this movie's so fucking stupid, Kit, that I legitimately thought there was gonna be a cartoon size hole in the center of her
Genuinely would
body.
not have been surprised.
Like
Genuinely
death
would not have
becomes
been
her,
surprised.
like, look through the hole. It didn't happen.
No.
I don't think that a flare gun to the gut would kill you.
It wouldn't. It absolutely would not. It would burn you for sure. It would not kill you. I know this because I looked it up after the movie cuz this was the one thing I wanted to research after seeing this was could you die from a the answer is no. There was a guy who got shot by a flare gun in the head and it did not kill him. Like, he got concussed and burns. He is fine.
Well, this lady's made out of paper then, because it burned up her insides, and so she's dead. You see him zip up the corpse bag, and then they renew their vows over his dead sister.
No, they don't.
Yeah, why not? They should
Why
have.
not?
That would have been
Here's
fucking
the thing I
stupid.
didn't get. He's like, "I just thought you had to trust me." And I'm like, "Oh, see, like, he didn't feel comfortable with her yet. Like, that's why, she's like, why don't I know anything about you?" Unlike 9.5 weeks, where it's like, I don't know anything about you because you're an asshole and you just don't want to tell me shit. Like, he doesn't tell her things because he's genuinely traumatized. And like, this is sad. And they totally could have made it work, right? Like, his sister's dead now. He's not going to kill her. He had no reason to. I don't see why these two crazy kids couldn't have made it work.
Mm, I think he needs. I think once again, like, yes, they are married, but they've been married for about a week. And
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
sometimes you're in a relationship and you start to deal with problems that you realize this relationship is too fresh for me to be the person to deal with these problems.
That is absolutely a thing that has happened to all of us at one point or another.
This is that. She's like,
Mm.
well, I mean, I could deal with the choking, I could deal with the goldfish, I could
The
deal with
choking was kinda hot, the goldfish was kinda hot.
even the
You having
potential murder
been
was.
potential murder was a little sexy, but, you
Yeah,
having,
fuck Jesus.
like, a whole lifetime of trauma that you have not in any way begun to deal with, and I just murdered your sister, seems like a lot for us to work through.
Yeah, this is something like we could spend the next 20 years unpacking this in therapy, or we could just go our separate ways and hope for the best. You're a
And I
best-selling
yeah,
author. Like,
yeah,
you can do better. I can do better.
yeah. I make
I,
CD-ROMs,
I'm
so
yeah, that I hear those are going somewhere. So
she'll find herself a new Jake. And then it ends with maybe a flatlander like me couldn't live at that altitude. What altitude? They make it sound like the relationship broke up because it was like too passionate and too wild and they were living on the edge. As opposed to like, no, it turns out he was deeply traumatized and abused man who had like a murderer for a sister. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm gonna go ahead and say I do agree with her that I could see why you could potentially consider incest trauma altitude. That's pretty
No,
heavy. That's
that
pretty
doesn't
high
fit
up.
with the metaphor that we've been using thus far.
Though I feel like once a movie I tell you something where I say like I found a new tattoo for us.
Oh, god damn it,
And
Garrett.
you know how like people get like a cool like just cool words, maybe get like a cool
Uh,
Papa Roach lyric tattooed down their rib cage.
yeah.
A flatlander like me can't live at that altitude. Come on, just get it. Just get it. This movie has 0%.
Garrett, I'll get that when you get his ugly ass Chinese character tattoo on his back, on your back.
If I end up with that tattoo and you don't get those dumb words like on your wrist or something,
Oh god, why does it have to be on my wrist? That's where my mom could see it. And then I'd have to explain it to her, and I don't want to do that.
that you have a good friend that you've spent the better part of 20 years
Mhm.
watching shitty movies with.
Mhm. And therefore I wanted a quote from this 0% on Rotten Tomatoes movie
Mhm, mhm.
on my wrist.
We'll talk about it. We'll figure it
No, we
out.
won't. We won't. We're not going to figure it out. All right, Garrett, it's time for us to have the important discussions.
Yeah.
Were you aroused?
Kit, a lot of the time in these movies when I say I was aroused, like, it's more like tongue in cheek, like, it was fun, like, I'm not sitting on the couch like, "Oh," like a cartoon wolf. Uh,
Awooga, awooga.
ooh, this movie, I swear to God,
Yeah.
the blood moved, the blood rushed. I
Mhm,
like
mhm.
legitimately this brought back
Ooh,
memories of being in high school, looking at this disc in the DVD player in my room, and
I was
I
angry
don't.
on behalf of young me that I didn't get to have that experience.
Yeah, this was a nice movie in formative years. I don't remember it being so stupid because like it really served a purpose. Like this movie was almost medicinal.
God damn it.
um so yeah, I 5 out of 5, man. Like this is she's looks great. And
She
she was
does.
just such a big crush for me in high school, and I feel like I don't think we've done another movie where it's been like a legitimate person that I've had a crush on. Like I had a
Mm,
poster of Heather Graham on my wall in high school, so it's hard for me to not give Heather 5 out of 5.
that's completely fair. I'm at like 4.98 because some part of me just really wants to see what came from that 7 days worth of footage. Like if there had been more, I would have actually died of joy because they are two just drop dead gorgeous people. And it does not matter how stupid this movie is, how bad the dialogue is, how cheap and shitty looking like some of the shots are. Like it's just
How every
mm,
scene ends in a fade.
every single scene ends in a fade. The pacing makes no goddamn sense.
There's
Like
some
every
weird
line
slow-mo throughout.
weirdly weird slow-mo. Every line is delivered as though they think they're delivering like slam poetry. Like none of this works except for the fact that these two beautiful people are very hot together and they do some sexy shit. And I am right there with you. Absolutely. Got hot damn.
I hope they got paid well.
Same.
Like this movie didn't do anybody any favors other than just like, "Oh my, they're attractive."
What are you talking
Like,
about? It did you a huge favor when you were a
well,
teenager.
I meant within, you're right. Like it employed some caterers, some grips, some like set designers, some shitty writers.
It made
Um,
some teenagers very happy.
you're right. Like I said, this movie's medicinal. I think you had to have a prescription to watch it, and uh
Alright, were you thrilled, Garrett?
nah. um No, I was never worried for anyone. Like I said, halfway through, like when she went to the sister, it wasn't even halfway. There's maybe like a half hour left in the movies. We're like an hour in. She's at the sister's apartment, and I was just screaming at the TV, just get back to the flare gun. Like we knew the flare gun's coming back, and I'm just like, I don't want to watch a trip to the mountains right now. Just get there. I don't give a shit how we get there. Just get there. If anything, like that was kind of frustrating that I had to watch more movie.
And
Sometimes it
there
just
were
takes too
definitely
long to do shit.
times like that where I'm like, "Okay, can we fucking skip this part and either get to sex or violence, please?"
Yeah. There's like
Um,
no violence other than him beating the shit out of that guy and then Sissy catching a flare gun to the tum tum.
I hate it when Sissy catches a flare gun to the tum-tum. Yeah, I never felt scared for her, not even when she was tied to the table because it was all just the acting was so the writing and acting were so wrong for the tone. Like nothing was ever scary in any way. I especially if I'm thinking about like 9.5 weeks, right? And the real palpable energy of weirdness and wrongness about the relationship. And there was just nothing like that here. And everybody kept saying, like, oh, it's such an edgy relationship. And I'm like, not really. He seems like just like a sad boy in big clothes
Yeah.
who likes to
I did
choke
like his
you.
moody sweaters though.
I loved the moody sweaters, and they were very like again, if only he'd had the little Tibetan flags and the like a couple of random like Buddhist symbols that he doesn't even believe in and a hacky sack, like he would have been perfect. Yeah, no, I was never thrilled. What would you score it, Gare?
Scored as far as thrills? I
Yeah.
mean, I I don't wanna go 0, I guess 1. Like, yeah, 1.
I'd
It's too
give it a
stupid to be like an actual thrill. Like,
thriller,
I
yeah.
don't care what happens. I don't actually fear for anybody. I don't think anything bad's gonna happen to the lead. Um, and I don't care
No.
who's the killer. Like, it doesn't like,
No.
I don't know, nothing matters. Nothing matters because it's so fucking stupid, but fun.
Yeah, I would also say I'll give it a 1. It wasn't nothing, but I definitely didn't care. And I wasn't like on the edge of my seat like, "Ooh, who's sending her the scary letters?" I'm like, can you go back to fucking, please?"
Can you at least make this shit rhyme?
Yeah,
Like,
seriously, if you're going to send threatening
Belushi's
letters, make it rhyme or at least like do like cool cutout from magazines letters. Don't just type it and then also have
what?
it not rhyme. What are you fucking lazy? All right. I
What
don't
I
I know this is a dumb question, but Garrett, would you ruin your life for
like
Alice,
I said,
aka
I'm
Heather
Jake.
Graham? You're
It
Jake.
this that
Would you ruin your
relationship
life? Would you ruin your life? And by that I mean, would you date her so that then you can lose her to this emo mountain climber who fucks
it's
her better than you can?
it's really funny. I worked with somebody at an old job where we worked with this very attractive lady and we saw her husband and he was like a total Jake. And we're all just like, "Huh?" Like you didn't get it. It didn't make sense. Like we were trying to figure out what happened and then somebody's like, "Oh, I saw her Facebook." It's like, "Yeah, what happened?" It's like, "Well, she got really hot."
She
And
was dating him before.
and
He
I
loved
think
her
that's
before.
yeah.
That's sweet in many ways.
Yeah, but he ended up he lost her almost immediately, and then she found an
Oh.
Adam,
Oh
um,
no.
and actually lives in Europe.
Damn.
Oh, shit. I remember
Shit.
but yeah, I'm Jake. I'm Jake in
Mhm,
this one. I would
mhm.
ruin my seems like it would be worth the ride, though, even though, like, they had really boring, terrible sex,
But you would buy her tube tickets?
the thing is, his boring, terrible sex was like sitcom sex, like, it was shirt on, socks on, like, it was like, he got nothing. Yeah, I'll buy her tube tickets all day. Like, take my bank account. You can have the tube. But yeah, I'll ruin my life for Joseph Fiennes. Um, he's just too fucking goofy. Like,
Mm,
he's too fucking goofy. Like, at least she's just got like this doe-eyed sweetness.
mhm.
He's kind of insufferable.
He's extremely insufferable. He's always making that goofy ass face. He
His Zoolander
dresses
ass head.
he dresses terribly, and I would absolutely ruin my life for him. Are you fucking kidding me? Not only would I ruin my life for him, I would, unlike her, have stayed with him and worked through
Oh my
those 20
god.
years of trauma. Yes, yes, I would. I would work through those 20 years of trauma with him.
You you don't choke me with the silks like you used to.
Maybe we would have to find a new way to choke that doesn't involve the exact same way that he used to choke his sister or whatever, I guess. But like, look, I we could make it work. He's Garrett, you don't seem to understand just how much
Mhm.
I loved him like, I'm sorry, but like I'm feeling for him the way you felt about Heather Graham. Like, I'm not letting that go so easy. Just because his sister's a murderer, no big deal. Sister's dead now, don't care. Just because he's got some childhood trauma, who amongst us does not? Thank you. We can go to therapy. He can go to individual and couples therapy. We'll make it work. I still get to fuck Joseph Fiennes. And that's enough for me.
I'm happy for you guys, you
Thank
know?
you.
I
Thank you. We'll invite
It's
you
a
to our
shame what you
vow
did to
renewal.
Jake, but I the vow renewal that's like at his it's like what, over like at his mom's nut house or his sister's like it's at something that sucks. Like the guy The guy has bad timing.
He does. But listen, Garrett, I'm gonna ride this train as long as I can be on it. I'm sorry, but like if it means I get to have sex with Joseph Fiennes, no questions asked. And yes, I would also ruin my life for Heather Graham because those titties are fucking magnificent. And I would
Bouncing
put
all
up with
over the
her being an
place.
idiot who doesn't presumably know how to buy her own goddamn tickets for the tube. I would put up with
I'm
it.
the kind of guy that could teach her. You can lead a flatlander to
to the
tube,
to the
but can you
tube
teach them to
station.
buy ticket?
Well, if you buy her a ticket, she'll ride the tube for a day. But if you teach her to buy her own ticket, she'll ride for as long as that seven
She'll
day
ride
pass.
Adam's dick.
God damn it.
All right, everybody. Once again, I recommend this one. High recommend for a bad movie night. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
We were gonna do like a legitimate, pretty good movie. We ended up not. I really, truly, until I was watching it, didn't really
reve-
know that this movie was such a piece of shit.
I'm glad we did it. I'm glad we were here. I loved
I
every
mean,
minute.
it was on the list. Like we had one in the chamber ready to go for a dog shit movie for next week, but maybe we have to jump out of order here and do a good one next week. Um, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Also, write us. Let us know what you want. At the
Yeah.
Erotic Thriller Club at gmail.com, at Erotic Thriller Club on Instagram, at Erotic Thriller Club on X. Um, I am at Gartet on Letterboxd if you want to follow along the real movies I watch outside of this. Um, it
I'm at,
is
yeah, I'm at and Caboodle on Insta if you want to occasionally see me take pictures of food and my dog. I don't know. But like, yeah, let us know what other movies you'd like to see us cover. Make sure you tell a friend if you like what we're doing here. And
rate, review, subscribe.
yeah, them's the magic words.
As always, thank you for listening. We love you. We want to shake you naked and eat you alive.